Chapter 9, review for the test. Number 9, we're given a function f of x equals negative 5x squared, and we want to find f prime of 3. So let's recall what f prime of 3 really means. That would be the derivative, which means find the limit. So we're looking for IROC, okay? On peeling this onion one skin at a time, we need to find AROC. Oh, I need to get a pen color out here. So we need to find AROC, evaluate it at 0, which is IROC. In other words, find the limit as h approaches 0. And IROC is the same as our derivative, f prime of x. Okay, so also known as your first derivative. When you go to calculus, you're going to find also the second derivative, so we would call that f double prime of x. Anyway, getting back to our task at hand, we need to find our AROC first. So coming up with AROC, we will find f of 3. So negative 5 times 3 squared. So 3 squared is 9. Negative 5 times 9 is negative 45. And then we need to find f of 3 plus h. Negative 5 times 3 plus h squared. So let's expand 3 plus h to get 9 plus 6h plus h squared. And distributing our negative 5, we get negative 45 minus 30h minus 5h squared. Okay, so let's find our AROC. It's going to be f of 3 plus h minus f of 3 all over 3 plus h minus 3. And as you know, our 3's will zero out. So we will have to scoot our paper up a little bit. And so we're going to end up with, come on back here, f of 3 plus h is negative 45 minus 30h minus 5h squared minus f of 5, which we evaluated to be 45, negative 45, excuse me, negative 45 all over h. And so negative 45, this goes to add the opposite, plus 45, zeros out. Let's factor an h out of that numerator. So we're going to have h times the quantity, negative 30 minus 5h. And at this point, some students say, well, couldn't we have factored out a negative 5h? Absolutely, we could. When you go to calculus, you're going to want to not do a lot of extra things just so that you don't make little mistakes, because we have a tendency to make Algebra 1 mistakes when our brain is so focused on doing the calculus. All right, and so now we're up to IROC. So finding the limit as h approaches 0 of negative 30 minus 5 times 0 is negative 30. Okay, so in other words, the derivative at, so we would write it like this, f prime of 3 is negative 30. Okay, and then part B asks us to evaluate it at negative 3. All right, so very similar, but instead of 3, now we're going to do negative 3. So let's get our legwork done. F of negative 3. Whoa. f of negative 3 is going to be negative 5 times negative 3 squared, which is also negative 45. And f of negative 3 plus h is going to be negative 5 times negative 3 plus h quantity squared. And again, we want to expand that, so it'll be negative 5 times 9 minus 6h this time, and plus h squared. Distributing our negative 5, we're going to have negative 45 plus 30h minus 5h squared. Okay, let's jump into our AROC. So we will have negative 45 plus 30h minus 5h squared minus negative 45 again. Add the opposite, and we end up with just, whoops, guys, let's back up here a little bit. Almost forgot my all over h. Okay, and so scooting my paper up here, let's factor a h out of our numerator. And so we have 30 minus 5h all over h, giant 1, and we're on to AROC, we're on to IROC. So we're going to find the limit as h approaches 0 is going to be 30 minus 5 times 0, or 30. Well, isn't that a coincidence? Is it or is it not? So let's take a look at what's going on here. F prime of 3 was negative 30. F prime of negative 3 is 30. So what kind of a function do we have here? We have a quadratic. I'm going to just get a quick sketch here. We have a quadratic function that opens down because we've got that negative 5x squared. So we know it opens down. It's stretched by a factor of 5. Goes through the origin. Not drawn to scale. But we have we're looking at 3 and negative 3. So here's negative 3. Here's 3. And so does it make sense that if I'm looking at the tangent line at these two x values, does it make sense that I have the same but the opposite, come on, there we go, slopes? Absolutely, because this graph is symmetrical over the y-axis. So this slope at negative 3 is a positive 30. It's a positive slope because it's angling, up. And this is negative 30. Again, it should make sense because it is symmetrical about the y-axis. Have a good day.